We have chosen a theme, Movement Alash and Bolsheviks. Comparative analysis to study this topic, we went to Military Museum of the Republic of Kazakhstan. The year is 1917. The Russian Empire is crumbling, and on its ruins, two opposing visions for Kazakhstan's future emerge. On one side, the Alash movement, representing the Kazakh national intelligentsia, striving for democracy and autonomy. On the other, the Bolshevik party, offering the radical revolution and the dictatorship of the proletariat. What unfolded between these forces was not merely a political struggle, but a true clash for civilization, between national self-determination and international revolution, between evolutionary development and violent restructuring. Today, we will conduct a comparative analysis of this movement and answer the key question: why did the Alash project, based on democratic principles and legal norms, suffer defeat in its confrontation with the Bolshevik dictatorship? This question remains relevant today as we reflect on the path of Kazakhstan statehood formation.
To understand the conflict between Alash and the Bolsheviks, we must start by analyzing the ideological foundations. The Alash movement was decades in the making through the newspaper Kazakh, through work in the State Duma, through literary and educational movements. The ideology was so full and consistent a secular democratic state within a federal Russia, equality for all peoples, gradual societal reforms through education. They believed in the power of law and rights. The Bolsheviks, however, proposed a completely different paradigm. Their ideology was one of revolutionary maximalism, dictatorship of the proletariat, abolition of private property, world revolution. For them, national borders did not exist, only class interests. While Alash sought to build, the Bolsheviks sought to destroy the old world to its foundations. This fundamental difference in worldview made the clash inevitable.
The central point of divergence was the national questions for the Alash leaders, Bokikhanov, Baitursunov, Dulatov. The nation was in absolutely knowledge. They developed a conservative program, territorial autonomy for Kazakh lands, with their own parliament and the government, education in the native language, preservation of culture identity. Their slogan, Autonomous Kazakhstan, or Motherland is Kazakhstan, reflected the aspirations for national statehood. The Bolsheviks, however, used the national questions as a tactical tool. Their declaration of the rights of the peoples of the Russian proclaimed their right to self-determination, but in practice this was trapped, as Stalin later admitted. We support national movements with the Arya Revolution and suppress them when they become counter-revolution for Moscow. Alash Orda was perceived such a counter-revolution phenomenon to be equated.
The methods of the struggle were as different as their goals. The Alash activists operated within the legal framework. They participated in elections to the Constituent Assembly, published newspapers, conducted educational work, and created cultural societies. When they formed their government, Alash Orda, it was an attempt at a legitimate state building. Their armed units were created to protect their population from the anarchy of the civil war, not for revolutionary terror. The Bolsheviks from the very beginning relied on violence, armed uprisings, the Red Terror, Cheka activists. These were their primary tools. They did not shy away from methods like taking hostages, executing without trial, and forced confiscation of property. Against Alash, they used post-military pressure and political intrigue, promising autonomy while simultaneously preparing to liquidate the movement. This was an asymmetric struggle. On one side, politicians and intellectuals; on the other, professionals, revolutionaries, unbound by moral constraints.
The social basis of these movements reflects their nature. Alash relied on the national intelligentsia, graduates of Russian and Western universities, writers, teachers, as well as the traditional steppe aristocracy, which retained authority amongst people. Their leaders, Bukikhanov, Baitursunov, Dulatov, were people of encyclopedic knowledge, true patriots who sought to combine Kazakh traditions with modern democratic values. The Bolsheviks, however, were supported mainly by the marginalized urban strata, lumpenized workers, deserting soldiers, party activists. Their leaders, Lenin, Trotsky, Stalin, were professional revolutionaries living for the idea of world revolution. They despised as bourgeois nationalists of Alash and considered them an obstacle to Soviet power. This difference in social base predetermined the outcome of the struggle. In the conditions of civil war, organized violence proved more effective than intellectual arguments.
Let's systematize our observation in a comparative table. Alash are a parliamentary republic, Bolsheviks are one-party dictatorship view of the nation. Alash are foundation of politics, Bolsheviks are bourgeois relic. Alash are market relations, Bolsheviks are full nationalization. The Alash are diplomacy press, Bolsheviks are armed uprising and terror. Alash are development of national culture, Bolsheviks are proletarian international culture. As the table shows, these were two fundamentally different projects. Alash aimed to create a modern national state of European type, while the Bolsheviks were building a totalitarian empire and the new slogans. The incompatibility of the models made compromise impossible.
Returning to our main question, why did the Alash project fail? The answer lies in the very nature of the revolutionary era. Alash did not lose because their ideas were wrong. On the contrary, they proved to be remarkably prophetic. They lost because they confronted a force that played by completely different rules. This was the conflict between law and force, between dialogue and dictatorship, between national building and imperial rebuilding. The Bolsheviks won because they were prepared to do anything, deceive, use violence, instigate terror. Alash, however, remained true to their democratic and humanistic principles until the end. But their defeat was not in vain. The idea of Kazakh statehood they championed outlived the Soviet era. Stalinism and perestroika in 1991, Kazakhstan gained independence, largely because the seeds of national consciousness had been sown by Alash. Their legacy is not just a page in history, but a moral compass for future generations.